Cleveland just they have too many good guys. Four
Yeah,
to
and I love
five
the
guys
trade
that
that
are
they
just
made.
good,
I
and the
do.
trade, yeah.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, one, we talk about the NBA and the All-Star Game. Two, we've got the sprint to the finals. We got the sprint to the playoffs. And in segment three, Unrivaled, doing the thing one-on-one, and the NBA probably won't follow suit. But first, Eastern Conference, we are at the All-Star break. We have paused, again, about 30 games left, headed into that next last stretch. Cleveland's 1, Boston's 2, Knicks 3, Pacers 4, Bucks 5, Detroit 6, outside looking in, Orlando, Miami, the Hawks, and the Bulls. Hottest teams going into the break, Cavs, Knicks, and Boston. Uh, with us today, Mike King, our team leader. Mike, any thoughts on the Eastern Conference, sir?
Cavs are good. Cavs are good. We know Boston's good. I don't think anyone else has a shot. Uh, Orlando's been disappointing because they started to get healthy and they started to play worse. That's been like the biggest disappointing thing in the East. But this looks like we clear. We know the Eastern Conference Finals. It just has to get there. I don't think anyone's scared of the Knicks. Um, they don't have a bench, and they're starting to play the bench more. But when push comes to shove, he's going to play five. He's going to play them all until they're tired. And the playoffs are it's a season, so you can't do that. You got to play. You got to let guys rest. I don't see how they could beat a Cleveland. I don't see how they can beat a Boston. Pacers are a weird team. They'll have like once seems like once every like week or two they have a game where you go, oh, they're pretty good, and then they go back to looking like like crap. It's just they're just such a roller coaster. Um, the Bucks, the talent's there, the top end talent's there, but they haven't shown it enough for me to think they could beat a Cleveland Boston. Cleveland's just they have too many good guys. Four to
Yeah, and I love
five
the
guys
trade
that
that
are
they
just
made.
good,
I
and the
do.
trade, yeah.
Yeah, so for me as a coach, with 30 games left, knowing that it's a long season and knowing that we're in a comfortable position, I got to keep us sharp, but I'm very mindful of minutes and I'm very mindful of being cautious about injury. So I'm going to try to get a few more guys in the rotation so they can get some playoff experience, so they can get some experience. So when we do get to the playoffs, we can definitely use them. And I think that's going to be Cleveland and Boston's strategy to try to minimize the minutes. So their margin of victories may drop. But again, this is the opportunity this time of year to keep your stars healthier and get guys some meaningful minutes. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with Boston and Cleveland because they're clearly the class of the East. As we move to the West, 1, OKC, 2, Memphis, 3, Denver, 4, Houston, 5, Lakers, 6, Clippers. Outside looking in, Minnesota, Dallas, Sacramento, and Golden State. Hottest teams, OKC, Denver, Lakers, and Memphis. And we've got a problem in the West because as I'm talking about being mindful in the East, West is too good to not go full bore and try to kill everybody. What are your thoughts on the West right now, sir?
First, everyone after one game against a team wanted to say the Lakers were just this unbeatable. How could think Shannon Sharp? Oh, give me OKC, we'll kill them. I mean, you lost to the Jazz and you were just outplayed. You're playing a career backup at center, and you have to go through a West where there's a lot of centers. There's a lot of size. I think the Lakers. I just don't think. I don't think they've got the pieces. They got two guys, and no one else scares you. And you're in a conference where some of these teams have four to five guys that on any given night could scare you. Lakers have two guys that scare you. OKC played Memphis and just whooped them. I think it was in Memphis too, just whooped them. But T Wolves played OKC well. T-Wolves would be a team I'd be scared of because again they got Ant and they did it last year. So and Dallas is such a weird team because when they get if they're healthy come playoff time, it's a big if. But if they're healthy come playoff time, you've got Kyrie and three centers. And that's and AD wants to be the four, fine. So AD at the four, you got Kyrie, and if the centers are healthy, both of them are good, both of them. So Dallas is a team, and they've had OKC's number. As an OKC fan, that is not the 1-8 matchup I want. Um, so I'm really hoping they don't make the playoffs for that reason. But Golden State, they don't they don't scare anybody. Clippers, they don't scare anybody. Houston, I think, is a year and a piece away. They need to get that star. And when they get that star, Houston next year is a kind of that wouldn't surprise me to see them fighting for the one seed. Um, Denver's just they got maybe the best player in the world. I'm partial to Shea, but I understand Shea's more valuable. Jokic is better. And they just had a 50 piece from Murray. So if he's playing well, that's a championship team with championship players. So Denver's a team that I would be a little bit concerned about. But Memphis, they don't scare me at all. Houston, Lakers, they don't scare me at all. Clippers, not at all. I'm more scared of teams on the outside looking in, Dallas and the T Wolves.
All right. So it's going to be hard no matter what. The West
West could be hard.
clearly has more depth in terms of teams, and every first round matchup will be a dogfight. There is no walking in where Cleveland against Atlanta or Orlando, whoever, we're not worried about. Boston against whoever the seventh seed is, But Memphis has Zach Edey and John Moran in the pick and roll, and you got to go through that 4 games. That's still tough. Houston's got young legs running free and somebody who can coach them. The Lakers don't give me pause. Golden State doesn't give me pause. And please stop telling me about Jimmy Butler. All I see is 35, and Draymond can't do what he used to do defensively, and that's why he's fouling. That's I know. You hold the jersey a little more when you're not as fast. So should be very interesting. But as we go into segment 2, All-Star Saturday night, All-Star game Sunday. Mike, tell me why I'm not interested. He's going to help me through this. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast.
This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. All right, Mike, help me out. I grew up in the time that the NBA All-Star Game and NBA All-Star Weekend, everything that had to do with it, I wanted to consume every bit. Friday, they had the Rising Stars and the Celebrity Game. I'm sorry, I just didn't have any interest outside of Bailey because I like Bailey. She's a good wrestler and she's entertaining. Okay. Saturday, I had All-Star Saturday night in the background. I wasn't paying attention, and you had me turning to hockey. That would have never happened growing up. And now we have the All-Star Game, and part of the allure of the All-Star Game was to see guys compete. And it's just not moving me, whatever they did. And secretly, I'm hoping the young guys just run them up and down the court. And now we've got a talking point because the young guys, as Draymond said, haven't earned their way to Sunday. Yeah. So talk to me. Cheer me up about the All Star game and All Star weekend. What are your thoughts, man?
The NBA All-Star weekend sucks. It sucks. When I was a kid, that was the best one. Like the dunk contest was a big deal. You had the best players in the dunk contest. You wanted to see Michael Jordan in the dunk contest. You wanted to see Vince Carter in the dunk contest. You wanted to see it. Now the best dunker doesn't play in the NBA. Who cares, right?
I
Like who
like
cares?
Mac. Good job, Mac. Get your
Yeah,
money. Do the best you can.
I'm not mad at him. It just doesn't interest me. He's not. I want to see an NBA star. LeBron never doing the dunk contest, to me, is one of the reasons that All Star Weekend is bad. Like your best player was ducking the best part of the All Star game. That's bad.
You
Um,
said ducking, man. Yeah.
he did because I remember his high school All American McDonald's. He won. He shouldn't have. He wasn't that good of a dunker. But he got it because he was LeBron James. The 3-point contest has become the best thing because basketball has become a 3-point shooting contest, and that, eh. Um,
Eh.
and I watch highlights of Kobe against LeBron from All Star games of like 15 years ago, and Kobe was playing defense on him the whole way up the court, and he was locking him down, and it was fun to watch because the players gave a darn. So when that happened, it was fun. So I'll compare this to the NHL, which as of taping
You
right
got
now
me watching.
happened last night. That was freaking fantastic. And the year before, the NHL All Star Game was horrific. It was, and it's always been kind of bad. It's a lot of these like puck skills and fastest skater and fastest shot. And the All Star game itself was just, a 3-on-3, no goaltending, no defense kind of nonsense. And it was awful. But then you put the flag of the country on the jersey, and USA Canada was phenomenal. There were hits in that game that don't happen in the NHL because who's going to give that much effort in a regular season game? I'm saving that for the playoffs. And they were playing this like it was the Stanley Cup Finals, and it was, I mean, 3 fights in 9 seconds, and that it was planned because there was bad blood between the teams, and Canadian fans booing during the national anthem for the USA, and the players took that personally. I took that personally, Michael Jordan meme, and they did. It happened. It's happened both games, and some of those hits, I mean, brutal. And this is in lieu of the All Star game. So I look at the NBA and I listen to a lot of NBA podcasts from players, and they don't like the American-born players. Don't like that the foreign-born players keep winning MVP and all the awards and a lot of the championships. You have Giannis and Jokic, and SGA is going to win it this year probably, and he's Canadian. Um, a lot of the guys that win the awards are not from this country, and that leads to bad blood. There's the NBA. It's a lot of friends, and everyone's friends with everyone, but you listen to the players talk about these awards, and you could tell they don't like it. You could tell they don't like it. So if you had USA versus everyone else, there would be actual basketball being played during the All-Star game. WNBA last year, Olympic team versus the non-Olympic team. Who won? The non-Olympic team because they cared, and the Olympic players were trying. They just lost to the team that was better than them that didn't get on the Olympic team with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and all. I mean, there was a ton of players that were better than the girls who were, getting on because it's their 17th Olympics. So we got to reward their 90th year on Earth instead of letting the future get a chance. The NBA needs to do things similar. And if they did, I'd watch. I'm not watching. I haven't watched a baseball one in I don't know how many, like over a decade,
Oh
because it's
man.
not interesting. Hockey, which I'm a huge hockey fan, I haven't really been watching, but this game yesterday, I was 30 minutes early just watching the pregame coverage because I was into it. NBA used to be my absolute favorite. Haven't watched in years. Not even going to watch this year when SGA might be someone who becomes an MVP. I don't care because it's not interesting. The NBA could fix it. Look at what the WNBA did. Look at what the NHL did. It's fixable. And you could, next year, it could be the best All Star game just like that.
Well, everything you said is true. There is no denying it. But the bottom line is, as we say in wrestling, that new TV deal, that money's real. And no one at the NBA office cares if the American fan is upset because that international money, those checks are clearing. You got Basketball Africa, you got them building in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to continue to complain,
Yep.
and the checks will continue to clear. And when we get back, we're going to make more fun of the men because the women had a one-on-one tournament, and make fun of the women too. The winner of that made more money than they did in their whole league. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Before we talk about Unrivaled, a little bit of advice from the legend. Billie Jean King is a legend. Let's just get that out of the way. And she has been an advocate for women's sports, and this is now over 50, 60 years. And she had a little bit of advice for Caitlin Clark, and she had a little advice for Angel Reese. And that advice was to ask yourself, what do you want? Okay, not what the world wants, not what your parents want. What do you want? And you'll be surprised at how many young people aren't sure. So that is some great advice. Mike and I both work with young people, and oftentimes we do have to maneuver through parent goals and coaching goals and everybody else's goals to find out what our students want. So what do you think about the advice Billie Jean King gave Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese?
I mean, I think it's great advice. If you worry about what accomplishments you leave to the world and do what's important to you, that's what matters. And she's, legacy, she said, that's what other people think. But if you do the right things that you care about, that's going to affect your legacy just the same. So instead of worrying about your legacy, worrying about what you know is right, legacy will work itself out. I like that advice.
Yeah, that was awesome to hear that. So although they're feuding, I want to talk a little Hall of Notes one-on-one. I want to play that game tonight. Nafisia Collier of the Minnesota Lynx took home $200,000 last week when she beat Washington Mystics forward Aaliyah Edwards in the final of the Unrivaled one-on-one tournament. Always like one-on-one. It's a great part of practice when we had guys compete. The winner's check was the largest one-day prize in women's basketball history. Unrivaled Commissioner Mickey Lawler said a big payday that was among the goals of Collier and fellow WNBA star Breanna Stewart when they founded the 3-on-3 League. Unrivaled gives WNBA players the opportunity to stay stateside, and Collier was the number 1 seed in a 30-player tournament. And she won the best of 3 series 2-1 over the 8th seed Edwards to become Unrivaled's first one-on-one champ. Mike, I want you to think about a 30-game tournament with NBA players. Man, that'll be awesome. Share your thoughts on the one-on-one tournament and why the NBA won't ever do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. the NBA can't do it because the players' egos, they couldn't take the loss. I don't think you would get the elite guys to do it because I don't think I don't think that honestly that's why I don't think they could handle like again, it's the same reason why you don't get everyone in the dunk contest. I can't have a loss on my resume. So I don't think you're gonna get, the top 20, top 30 guys. I think you're gonna end up getting the guys that aren't gonna have enough people interested in watching. But if
You're
you
going to get
could
the guys
get
interested in the NBA Cup so they can make some extra money.
if
The bench guys.
the NBA Cup, it was the bench guys. Like I was watching the Thunder throughout, and it was Jalen Williams, not J Dub. It was the other Jalen Williams who was injured, who was like begging them to win because he wanted the extra couple grand. It wasn't the stars. They didn't care. I mean, they cared. They just wanted to win. They didn't care about the, you know, 10,000, whatever it was. For them, it's like, but for the women, great. But if you could imagine the best 30 NBA players in a tournament like this, I would watch every second. And I think a lot of people would. I think it would be more watched than the NBA Finals. I think it would be fascinating stuff to see just like, one-on-one check, pick up basketball like everyone played as kids, but it's, you know, Curry against SGA, LeBron against Ant. Like, who wouldn't watch that? Um, See how far Wemby could go and which skill set would be best for this kind. And we've always talked about like Jordan and who would Jordan versus. I mean, I think Jordan said Kobe would beat him because he's copied all his moves. That's when they used to talk about this kind of stuff 15 years ago. Jordan said the only guy that could beat him is Kobe because he just going to do all the same moves as Jordan does. But I would love it. I mean, I would absolutely love it. I think the NBA, if like a Netflix or something got the rights and raised the money to have like a prize pool worthwhile, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't watch it?
So two things. One, I'm glad Unrivaled is trying some different things. I'm glad they're working to keep people stateside. They do have to work out the kinks because unlike the NBA, who may not be worried about ratings or things like that, Unrivaled, as with many startups, the first week was this, and then it moved down. Similar to the UFL, similar to the XFL 20 years ago, and then when it came back. So still got to build the audience. I think the business model was fine in terms of keeping it at one location. The costs were lower than that. Uh, but yeah, man, the NBA guys, for whatever reason, and this is not old man, get off my lawn. They just don't want. They're very comfortable. So when you hear Draymond say he doesn't want the rookies in the second years playing on Sunday, keep them to Saturday, keep them to Friday, it's like some exclusive club that I, I just want somebody to care to go after somebody else. Uh, is that too much to ask for, Mike? Tell
Right.
me, talk
It's
to.
the kind of short-sighted stuff that makes your league trail in the ratings. When the young people, like that's the future of the league, but the NBA, they're still all in on Steph Curry and LeBron James and Kevin Durant and people who are on bad teams. Again, you watch you watch the NBA and it's like watching the Democratic Party just putting out an 80-year-old candidate and what should we do next? Let's we got this young 76-year-old. That's the future. Like the future is the Maryland governor who should be out and about and should be on TV all the time because that's who you should be selling. You should be selling SGA. You should be selling. I mean, they're selling Wembyama. That's about it. But they should be selling all the young players. We should be watching Ant on TV as much as possible, SGA on TV as much as possible. Get that Chet Wemby rivalry. Every OKC Spurs game needs to be televised. That's what they should be doing. But instead, we've got Draymond Green and his whatever he's averaging.
You tried now
With his
John
career,
Cena doing the hits.
8 point a game, Draymond Green just saying, "Oh, these guys keeping us Saturday." Shut up! You shouldn't be an all-star. You're an all-star WWE type personality. You're not an all-star basketball player.
Trotting out Cena doing the hits. Is
Take
that what you're telling
Draymond Green
me?
away from Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and he would have been out of the league 8 years ago. No one would have even known he existed outside of Michigan State fans, but he got to the perfect place where his 8 points a game, and defense was able to get him to be a known quantity. Otherwise, he would be lucky to be on the Saturday group if he wasn't hitched to the right wagon, which was Steph
Uh,
Curry.
So it sounds like wrestling meeting, a
Yeah.
booking meeting, and we've got to build new stars, and you've got to find a way to keep Bruno on the card, but move him to the semi-main event. Yes, I just dated myself, so you got me interested in WrestleMania. See who's going to close against Cody. All right, so on behalf of my favorite team leader, Mike King, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and/or watching the Eye Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.